So hello everybody, my name is Ihasz. I'm a research student of Osaka University's Graduate School of Language and Culture, and I would like to give a presentation today about my research topic, which is concerned about the actualization and representation of politeness in Japanese language. So first of all, what is politeness? We can differentiate between two notions of politeness. There's the commonplace politeness, that's the one you can find in your dictionary, and then that stands for polite behavior, like giving up your seat for the elderly, or using polite expressions towards another. But there's an academic notion of politeness as well. That notion stands for appropriate behavior in a given situation. For example, if you speak with your boss, it's appropriate, or with your teacher, with your professor, it's appropriate to use, polite expressions. But what if you speak with your friend? It sounds rather strange if you want to invite your friend to a beer and you say, well, hello Mike, or good afternoon Mike, would you fancy a cup of beer? It sounds rather strange, isn't it? So you just say, hey buddy, let's have a beer. This expression or this sentence, hey buddy, let's have a beer, is it polite? No. Is it appropriate? Yes, because it's appropriate to use casual expressions in close relationships or in friendship, in friendly relationships. So, what is polite doesn't necessarily mean, or what is appropriate doesn't necessarily mean it's polite. In the field of linguistics, politeness, or the field of politeness, the research field of politeness, does not cover only polite expressions, but casual expressions as well. So again, academic politeness is a notion for appropriate behavior, and commonplace politeness is only one part of it, or can be one part of it. But what is the exact definition of politeness in linguistics? Well, there are several different definitions by several different linguists, but I'm conducting my research by the theory of Brown and Levinson. Brown and Levinson. They are two very famous linguists. Their theory based on the notion of face. Everybody has a face, and this face can be divided to negative face and positive face. Excuse me for my drawing, I can't draw at all. So, everybody has a negative face and everybody has a positive face. And these faces have face bonds. Our negative face don't want us to be bothered, don't want us to be instructed, and don't want us to be constrained by other people. And our positive face wants us to be acknowledged and wants us to be liked by other people. Everybody has these wants, more or less. So this positive face is, we can say it, that's a social face. And this negative face, oh, that's positive face, that's and the negative face, well, it can be said as an antisocial face or a prideful face. Don't want to be bothered, don't want to be constrained, don't want to be instructed. This social face, this positive face, well, the correct term is positive face, is wants us to be acknowledged and wants us to be liked. In order to maintain swift communication and good personal relationship, we have to satisfy each other face wants. So if I communicate with my friend, let it be Mike again, there's me and there's Mike. And I have a positive face and a negative face with my positive face wants and my negative face wants. And Mike also has his positive face and his negative face with his positive face wants and negative face wants. And I have to preserve my positive face wants and Mike's positive face wants constantly, and also my negative face wants and Mike's negative face wants constantly, in order to achieve swift communication. So let me give you an example. For example, I'm standing here and I'm quite cold. I want the air conditioner to be turned on, but my neck hurts and I'm quite far from the air conditioner, so it would be quite problematic for me to turn on the air conditioner. Fortunately, my good old friend Mike stands right next to the air conditioner, so I should just ask him to turn it on for me. But if I ask Mike to turn on the air conditioner, it would be a request towards him, so I instruct Mike. And instruction is against negative face wants. So this would actually harm Mike's negative face wants. Because what does negative face says? Don't want to be instructed. And constrained. And bothered. So if I ask Mike, I would instruct him, and it would harm his negative face. So what should I do? I just, even if it's problematic for me, I just go and turn the air conditioner on myself. But then it would be inconvenient for me, and then my negative face would be harmed, and that would be because I would be constrained in my convenience. So I have to. There are some situations where you just can't avoid to threaten these face wants, one or another's face wants. So I have to decide whose face wants will I preserve, my face wants or Mike's face wants. And if I choose my face wants over Mike's, then I will conduct a face-threatening act against Mike. Face-threatening act. Or the abbreviation is FDA. So, from the given example, you can see that a request or an order or an instruction would be a face-threatening act against our partner negative face wants. So if we want to define negative face-threatening acts, it would be negative face-threatening acts, acts that threatens negative face. It would be instruction, because what does a negative face wants says? I don't want to be instructed. So if I instruct somebody, that would harm his negative face. Or constrainment, or what was it, request. Etc., etc. Okay, so what do you think? Can anybody think of a threatening act that threatens positive face? What does our positive face says? I want to be liked. Our positive face says that want to be liked, want to be acknowledged. I can't write here. Liked, acknowledged. Does anybody have an idea? What can be? Yes.
Saying something bad about that person?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Criticize somebody, criticize that person, or making fun of him, or taking him lightly. Exactly, saying something bad. It would harm his positive face. For example, when can't we avoid positive face harm? When Mike treats me for a dinner in his home, and he asks for my opinion about the lunch, because if it's good, then he will make it to her girlfriend on the next day, and I can, and it's horrible, and I can lie and I can say, oh Mike, it was delicious, but then it would harm Mike in the long term, in the long run, because he will make the same awful food or supper for her girlfriend on the next day. So I have to tell the truth to Mike, and by doing so, I will definitely hurt his positive face, because I will criticize him. I will tell him, Mike, I'm sorry, but I just can't eat it. It's really awful. So when we can't avoid face-threatening acts against negative face or positive face, we use politeness strategies. I have to. Can I erase this? Is it okay if I erase it? There are politeness strategies. There is positive politeness strategies. What can be positive politeness strategies? Easing criticism with compliments. Establishing common ground. Using jokes, using nicknames. And using in-group jargon or slang. With these techniques, we can ease the situation, we can compensate our partner for the harm that occurred, or for the harm we conducted on his positive face. And of course, there are negative politeness strategies as well. That will compensate our partner for the harms conducted, or yes, for the harms on his or her negative face. And with these techniques, we can ease the situation and assure the person that we didn't want to, that we are really sorry to bother him, that we acknowledge him as a superior of us, that we didn't want it to harm his pride, because the negative face is a prideful face. What are the negative politeness strategies? Being indirect when asking somebody. So you don't say, when I want to ask Mike to please turn on the air conditioner, I can't just say, turn on the air conditioner now. It would be really rude. So I have to use politeness, I have to be polite. Being indirect. could you please, could you turn on the air conditioner? If with could, I don't ask if he does it for me or not, but if he is able to do it or not. But the outcome would be the same, of course. Being pessimistic when asking somebody, or when asking something. You don't have 5,000 yen, do you? Give deference. I mean by deference that putting ourselves under that someone and acknowledging him as a superior of us. So like using the Japanese keigo is especially kanjogo, and the usage of kanjogo and sonkaigo is especially a good example of this in Japan. And of course apologizing. I'm sorry, but could you please? Okay, and my unfortunately I'm pretty sure that my time's up, so I just have to. Oh yes, it is. I'm sorry. Yes, well, I am conducting a research in Japanese, and I am trying to find the actualization and representations of these politeness strategies, positive politeness strategies and negative politeness strategies in Japanese language. Like keigo is a negative politeness strategy, and I am mainly conducting research on positive politeness strategy fields. So what can be seen as what can be a positive politeness strategy. Well, that's a brief summary of the topic and my research team, but unfortunately I don't have more time. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions.
Thank you for your talk.